You are welcome to today's episode. We want to treat on organic chemistry. Organic chemistry, as you know, is part of chemistry. And from the onset, from the beginning, you have to understand that chemistry is divided into three. We have organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, and physical chemistry. These are the three types of chemistry. Now, organic chemistry is the type of chemistry as well, but which most people, they don't normally go into it because some people find it difficult. But from today henceforth, you will see that organic chemistry is more simpler than inorganic. Now, when you talk about organic chemistry, I want to bring your mind back to what you have learned so far in agriculture. In agriculture, there is what you learned that we call organic and inorganic manure. Now, have you asked yourself question, what is this organic manure? Or what is the difference between organic manure and inorganic manure? When we say inorganic manure, you have NPK fertilizer. NPK 15-15-15 fertilizers. Then when you talk about organic manure, you talk about all those cow dungs, all those goat dungs, all those droppings from poultry. These are the organic manure. Why do we call it organic? Because of the percentage composition of water or the water content that make that particular refuse or the dungs to decay in nature. That is organic chemistry itself. Now, when you talk about organic chemistry as a type of chemistry is a chemistry of carbon and its compound. A chemistry of carbon and its compound. Remember, in inorganic chemistry, you have carbon and its compound, you have nitrogen and its compound, you have phosphorus and its compound, you have oxygen and its compound, hydrogen and its compound, and so and all the rest. Now, but this one, in organic chemistry, we say that it is the chemistry of carbon compound. It is the chemistry of carbon compound, except triazocarbonate. Except triazocarbonate, that is CO3, comma, carbon 4 oxide, and carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide. Except 1, 2, 3. But you define organic chemistry as a chemistry of what? Carbon and its what? Compound. Or the chemistry of carbon and its compound. Except triazocarbonate. Because triazocarbonate is inorganic. Carbon 4 oxide is inorganic. Carbon dioxide is inorganic. So that is why they say the organic chemistry can be defined as a chemistry of carbon and its compound, except triazocarbonate, carbon 4 oxide, and carbon 2 oxide. Why? Because all these you are seeing here are inorganic. But when you talk about this, what are the compound that they say it is the study of the carbon compound? What are the compound? The compound becomes carbon and hydrogen. That is what organic chemistry is talking about. Now remember, with the knowledge of SS1 scheme, SS1 scheme made us to understand that when you have element which is carbon plus another element which is hydrogen, element plus element will give you compound. So with this attachment of this hydrogen to this carbon, it has become a compound. Remember, we have element, compound, and mixture. These are the three things that we have in SS1 scheme. You will see it there. Element. An element is any substance that cannot split into further. A compound is when two or more elements are chemically combined together. Then when you talk about mixture is when two or more elements are physically combined together. These are the, we have some examples which I illustrated here very well. So now this becomes a compound when they are chemically combined together. So carbon, when you talk about organic chemistry, is the study of this carbon and the compound that is attached to it, which is the hydrogen. So the study of carbon compound, the study of carbon compound. Now the question again is, how come of all this organic chemistry and all this organic compound? Now remember this, I will just give you the brief history extracted by the oceanographers. Oceanographers are those people that study about oceans. They call them oceanography. Then those people that study it is what to call oceanographers. Now, when they enter in deep ocean, they verify that most of the animals, all those aquatic animals, call it whatever thing you may know. Now, all of them, sometimes they will die, and the current of water will now push the animal, the dead animal, to a particular place. Some of the trees and grasses that fall inside water or fell inside water, they will decay, and the current of that water will pack it to a particular place. Now, as they cycle in a particular place, they will stay there and they decay. When that substance decay, they will now start forming what we call carbon. And when you see carbon, you are going to see them in this form. Carbon, you see an animal or trees, or that of grasses that decay inside water, it will be in this form. Then you can see another one that decays, you form in this form. You can see another one that decay, will be in this form. They will keep on forming a cone like this until the place will be filled up with what we call carbon. And that is what we call carbon. And when you watch the nature of this, that is where they extracted what we call carbon-carbon reaction. And what is this carbon-carbon reaction? Carbon-carbon reaction simply means when carbon join with what? Carbon. Another carbon join with carbon. Another carbon join with carbon. That is what organic chemistry is talking about. All those things that decay inside the water, that form layers. And when you watch this one, now all these substances that you are seeing here, or this diagram picture, look like C. And that is how they come about with this carbon, C. So now, to make it more understandable, you find out that if I put I here, put bond here, put bond here, put here, it has formed something of this nature. But just that the picture of this one is too high compared to this. That is how carbon compound came into existence. Now, and we have what we call catenation. What is catenation? Catenation is the process by which carbon join with another carbon, and carbon join with another carbon. They keep on forming chain. That is what we call catenation. An ability of this carbon to join with this, an ability of this carbon to join with this. The process whereby this carbon join with this is what we call catenation reaction. Catenation, joining with another carbon. Catenation. So that is exactly what takes place, and that is how organic chemistry came into existence. All those things that decays, that form carbon, which I illustrated on the board. Now, from this place, we have what we call the characteristics of organic chemistry. What are the characteristics of organic chemistry? The characteristics of organic chemistry, where you have number one, we said, one, they are covalent in nature. They are covalent in nature. They are covalent in nature. That is number one. Number one. Why do they say that all organic substances, they are covalent in nature? Covalent, with the knowledge of SS1 scheme, whatever thing I'm teaching you, I will be referring you to what you have learned. So when you go to the SS1 scheme, you see what we call covalent and electrovalent bonding. Covalent and electrovalent bonding, though we are coming there. So when you talk about electrovalent bonding simply means the transfer of electron from metallic atom to non-metallic atom. Example of metallic atom is sodium. Example of non-metallic atom is chlorine. So the transfer of electron from sodium to chlorine is what we call electrovalent bonding. Two of them, they will form what we call electrovalent bond. Another name for electrovalent bond you can see in your chemistry is what we call ionic bond. Now, when you talk about covalent bonding simply means when there is a sharing of electron. Electrovalent, there is a transfer of electron from metallic to non-metallic. While you talk about covalent, you are talking about sharing of electron. You contribute, I contribute, we form one, we share it together. So that is the meaning of covalent. They say they are covalent in nature. How are they covalent in nature? They involve in sharing of any substance that are involved. Now, for example, if I have something like methane, this is what we call methane, CH4, methane, I will explain, as a gas. Methane, when you want to share this as a covalent, you see it in this form. See, it will have one bond here, another bond, another bond, another bond. 1, 2, 3, 4. C is 1. Y hydrogen is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. They have shared this carbon. 4 of them share the carbon. That is what we call covalent. Covalent, sharing of electron, sharing of the hydrogen atom involved. That is why we say one of the characteristics of organic chemistry is they are covalent in nature. They share. They share. That is the example of what is on the board. Then number 2 characteristics of organic chemistry, they say most of them are flammable. Most of them are flammable. That is number 2. Most of the organic compound, most of the organic compound are flammable. Why?
Action.
Most of the number 2, most of the organic compound are flammable. Why some are inflammable? Inflammable. What does this number 2 characteristics mean? Flammable means something that can catch fire. Flammable. Why inflammable means something that cannot catch fire. For example, when you go to methane, methane is one of the gas. Or sometimes some of you have cylinder at home. The gas that you feel inside is what we call ethene, which is flammable, and it's from organic substance. It's from organic ethene. So that ethene that you feel is also one of the organic, and it can catch fire. You have example of the fuel. It's an organic compound. It can catch fire. That's why we say some are flammable, while some are non-flammable. Example of the non-flammable, you talk about what we call benzene. Benzene is an aromatic, all those things that has an aroma, all those things that have an aroma, like your soap. Some of the soap that you use at home, they have an aromatic scent, or some of them they scent very well. So aroma, and all of them they are organic what? Compound. So that's why they say some are flammable, while some are what? Non-flammable. Then number 3 characteristics of organic compound, you can say 1, their reaction, the reaction in organic compound, the reaction in organic compound, the reaction in organic compound tends to be slower, tend to be slower than inorganic. So when you come to the reaction of this one, all the reactions, just like as we say sodium reacting with chlorine, they will form what we call sodium chloride. When you come to this one, the reaction cannot be just fast as that of sodium and chlorine. It cannot also be fast as that of hydrogen and chlorine. It cannot also be fast as that of sodium and tetraoxosulfate 6. It cannot also be fast as that of hydrogen and triazonitrate. That is just what we're talking about. When you see any of the reaction, like example, if I have hydrogen plus triazonitrate, we are going to have what we call hydrogen triazonitrate 5. Sodium triazonitrate 5. Very quick, the reaction will take place. But in terms of organic chemistry, their reaction like this tend to be slower. Before 2 of them they will combine, you will find it difficult for them to neutralize. These are the characteristics. Now, another thing that you are going to have there, for example, let me just illustrate this. If I have something like methane, example methane, I told you CH4 plus chlorine. For this to react, there will be a displacement reaction. There will be what we call substitution reaction. How do I substitute it? I will go to this side. I will minus 1 hydrogen here. I will write it here. I will minus 1 chlorine from here. I will put it here. Then remaining CH3 and 1 chlorine plus CH3 and 1 chlorine. That is what we call monochloromethane. And that is what makes it difficult. By the time this substitution reaction will take place, so that this one will go with this one will go with this, it makes it more slower in reaction. These are the characteristics of organic compound. Now we have number 4. Number 4 says organic compound are non-polar. Organic compound are non-polar. polar. What is the meaning of this non-polar? Non-polar means when they cannot move like that of water. They are not too liquid, they are not too solid. That is what they are in between. That is what we call semi-liquid. That is when you have something like a condensed oil. Condensed oil is not too liquid, it's not solid. They are viscous in nature. They are viscous. That is what we call non-polar. And non-polar means it cannot deflate. It cannot deflate. It cannot deflate front, right and back. Like when you are pouring water from a height inside jerry can or gallon, whatever thing you may call it, and if there is breeze, you see that some of the water will be deflating. The water will be deflating. But if you are pouring something like condensed oil inside gallon, can it deflate? No. So that is why we say that most of the organic compounds are non-polar. Example of them, like if you are seeing somebody that is preparing Vaseline, when you see them in a viscous form, immediately after the preparation, you see that it will be in a viscous. And if you want to pour it inside, it cannot deflate. You cannot shape it like that of water. That is how some of the organic compounds are. So these are the characteristics of organic chemistry.